Good afternoon
Good
po. Yes
afternoon
po,
po.
sir.
Let's begin. So let's continue our discussion with conduction heat transfer. So our objective for today is to identify important properties in heat transfer. So that's what we have discussed yesterday, and then to develop a deeper understanding of the Fourier's law, and to develop from basic to principles the general equation termed as heat diffusion equation, which governs the temperature distribution in a medium. So today we will derive the formula for heat diffusion equation. And lastly, to solve problems related to conduction heat transfer. So this is our goals for today. Hopefully we will achieve these goals. Okay, so yesterday, just a recap, we have discussed about the different important properties in heat transfer. So we have the transport and thermodynamic properties. So examples of the transport property are the thermal conductivity and kinematic viscosity. Well, for the thermodynamic properties, so we have density, specific heat, uh, and thermal diffusivity. So these are examples of thermodynamic properties. We also solved problems relating to the thermal diffusivity for solving thermal diffusivity alpha yesterday. So I already taught you on how to look for the values in the table. Yeah. So with regards to different materials. So today our main focus is the heat diffusion equation. So a major objective in the conduction analysis is to determine the temperature field in a medium resulting from conditions imposed on its boundaries. So that is, we wish to know the temperature distribution, which represents how temperature varies with the position in the medium. So once this distribution is known, so the conduction heat flux at any point in the medium or in its surface may be computed from Fourier's law. So this formula is from the energy balance. So energy in plus energy generated minus energy out is equal to energy storage. So here in heat transfer, we will not focus on mechanical energies. So rather, we will just focus on the thermal energies. So as you can see on our screen, this is the heat diffusion equation that we will be deriving today. So equation 2.19. So as you can see, we have here more than one variable. So that's why we are using the partial differential equations for x, y, and z variable. So in deriving the heat diffusion equation, we will not only focus on the x direction, but also in y and z direction. Okay, so please remember this equation because we will determine how this equation was derived. So what's the purpose of determining this heat diffusion equation? So for a solid, so knowledge of the temperature distribution could be used to ascertain structural integrity. through determination of thermal stresses, expansions, and deflections. So the temperature distribution could also be used to optimize the thickness of an insulating material or to determine the compatibility of special coatings or adhesives used well in the material within the material. So the determining the different uh, determining the heat diffusion equation could lead us to solve problems on thermal stress, expansions, deflections, and also the to optimize the thickness of an insulating material. So that's our one of the goal of heat transfer. Okay, excuse me. So we will now proceed to derive the differential equation whose solution provides the temperature distribution in the medium. Okay, as you can see on our screen, okay, so as you can see on our screen, we have here a homogeneous medium within which there is no bulk motion or advection and temperature distribution T of x, y, and z. We have T of x, y, and z is expressed in Cartesian coordinates. So this is Cartesian coordinates x, y, and z. So why do you think we have to consider a controlled volume? I want to know your thoughts. 3107. Falogmeriel Alfred. Are you here? Falogmeriel Alfred.
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So why do you think we have to consider a controlled volume?
For me po, controlled volume will not overlap or uh, overheat the maximum space that the object occupies po.
Okay, uh, so you mean the volume is being controlled here? So is that what you mean?
Yes po.
Well, actually, so we are using the this controlled volume because in reality we cannot. For example, this is part of the burning wall. So in reality or part of the system, we cannot study the whole system itself because it's too complex and it's too large. So that's why we are only considering a region on that uh, object or on that wall. For example, this is a wall. So we have only to consider a certain portion of that wall. So that's why we are taking only the small portion. So this is just a small portion of a system. And this is what we call the control volume. It is a representation of the whole system. Okay, so we have to define the an a small control volume or differential control volume. So the differential control volume here is dx, dy, and dz, xyz. So this is our differential control volume for conduction analysis in Cartesian coordinates. So yeah, that's the main purpose is that we cannot analyze the whole system because it's too large. So you just have to analyze a small portion of the system, and that's what we call the control volume. So yeah. Okay, so in determining the heat diffusion equation, we have to consider the uh, energy balance or the energy. We have to apply the conservation of energy. So energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So that's why we have here energy in plus energy generated minus energy out is energy storage. Okay, so we will proceed first with the energy in. So energy in or heat transfer in is the rate of heat transfer coming into the system. So what are those? Ashley Jerome Esplana, are you here? Ashley Jerome Esplana.
Hello po. Yes po.
Okay. So what are the energy or heat transfer coming into the system in this controlled volume?
Ano po, yung QX, QY, tsaka po yung QZ.
Okay, thank you. So that's correct. The energy or heat transfer coming in is Qx plus Qy plus Qz. So what about energy coming out? Let's hear from Adonai Ernest Gabriel. Are you here? Wala si Adonai Ernest Gabriel.
Good afternoon po, sir. Puwedeng paulit po, medyo humina
Okay,
lang po yung aking signal.
okay. So Earlier, we have mentioned the rate of the energy in or the heat transfer coming into the control volume or to the system. So we have Qx, Qy, and Qj. What about the energy coming out?
Sir, yung ano pa, yun po ba sir yung QX plus DX, QY plus DY, and QZ plus DZ po?
Yes, that's it. So why do you think it is Qx plus dx? How does it? How where did it came from?
Sir, because yun po yung ano, yung going out po.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so in here there is a an illustration of uh, the designation for the heat transfer coming out. So for example, in this area, in this length, we have the heat transfer Qx, and the change in length has effect on the rate of heat transfer if it is not constant. So if the heat transfer is not constant, so we have to consider the dx. So in coming out, so Qx as in coming out, so the heat transfer would be Qx plus dx because we are adding the differential, the total length considered. So we have the dx here and the x here. So x plus dx. So the heat transfer coming out is x plus dx. Same case with y direction. The heat transfer coming out at y direction is cube y plus dy. Okay. So that's the reason why it's qx plus dx. So you have to consider the uh, total length. Okay, so going back here, so this is our energy coming out. Okay, so we already have energy coming in and energy coming out. How about the energy generated? So energy generated here is described as Q naught multiplied by dx dy dz. So the unit is watt per cubic meter. Okay, so where Q naught is the rate at which energy is generated per unit volume so of the medium. So in addition, so changes may occur. So in addition, so changes may occur in the amount of internal thermal energy stored by the material in the controlled volume. So if material is not experiencing a change in phase, so latent energy effects are not pertinent and energy storage terms reduces the rate of change of sensible energy. Okay, so yeah, this is our energy generated. So Q naught multiplied by dx dy dz or the controlled volume. So next we have here, we have energy storage. So what is energy storage? Okay, so we have this is the amount of energy remains on the system. So for example, since the system has different energies coming in and coming out, there are energies that are stored in the system or what we call the internal energy. So the energy storage, in contrast, so the energy storage term refers to the rate of change of thermal energy stored in the system. Okay. So it is the rate of change. So it is equivalent to the summation of all the energies coming in and coming out, plus the energy generated. Okay. So substituting these equations, we have already energy in, we now have energy generated, we have energy out, and energy stored, or internal energy. By the way, in thermodynamics, are you still familiar with the formula MCP delta T?
Yes po.
Okay, so it's the same as this energy storage. So such that in, it so happens that we are not only dealing with one variable here, but we are also dealing with two or more variables, the x, y, and z variable. So that's why our formula is using the partial differential equation. So we have rho Cp multiplied by partial derivative of temperature with respect to time multiplied by dx, dy, dz. Yes, this is our internal energy or energy storage. So where rho Cp, partial derivative of t with respect to time, is the time rate of change of sensible thermal energy of the medium per unit volume. Okay, so substituting these equations plus yung energy in and energy out, we will come out with this equation 2.16. Delete ko muna to. Okay. So this is our energy in. This is our energy generated. This is our energy out. And this is our energy storage. So we can still simplify this one, these equations. So except for this one, so we have energy out equals Q of x plus dx. So minus Q of y plus dy minus Q of z plus dz. So how do you simplify this equation? Let me know if you have any idea. Joson Miguel Leandro. Joson Miguel Leandro. Do you have any idea how to simplify this equation of energy out?
Sir, ano po? Hindi po eh.
Mm-hmm. Who has the idea how to simplify this equation? Q of x plus dx minus Q of y plus dy minus Q of z plus dz. Okay, so here we will use the Taylor series expansion. So as I have informed you during our first meeting, so you need to review your uh, lessons in mathematics, particularly the numerical methods. So we have here the Taylor series expansion, where in here we are neglecting the higher order terms. So for example, can you still recall the Taylor series expansion? Okay, so just a recap, Taylor series expansion is an equation with the function f of x and slope. So it has two components, function and slope. So like this one, we have f of x plus dx. So the function is f of x and the slope is dx. So in a Taylor series expansion, so a Taylor series is a series expansion of a function about a point. So one-dimensional Taylor series is an expansion of a real function f of x about a point x equals a, so given by this equation. Okay, so in here, we are expanding the equation. So we just have to consider the function and slope, but we will not consider here the higher order terms. Okay, did you get my point? So only f of x plus df over dx multiplied by dx. So we will only consider the function and slope. So going back to this equation, so we can simplify this uh, q of x plus dx in using Taylor series expansion. So we have here q of x plus partial derivative of qx with respect to x dx. So this q sub x is our function, and partial derivative of qx over with respect to x dx is our slope. So it is a combination of a function and slope in Taylor series expansion. So now we can expand this equation. Yeah. Same case with q of y plus dy. We can expand this equation and q of z plus dz. So after expanding this equation, what do you think will happen? May I call on Roman Santa John Gabriel? Roman Santa John Gabriel, are you here? Roman Santa John Gabriel. Ito na. Roman Santa John Gabriel, wala. So we will move forward with Russell Mark Sacking. Are you here, Russell Mark Sacking?
Sir, what's the question again po?
Okay, so we already expanded this equation q of x plus dx. So this is energy coming out. We already expand this q of y plus dy and q of z plus dz. So what do you think will happen next when after expansion, after Taylor series expansion? How can we simplify this equation 2.16?
Sir, I have no idea po.
Okay, so what we are going to do is that we will cancel out this q of x. So why do you think it is cancelled out? Because when we substituted this 2.13 a, b, and c, so this will be a negative qx. So this will be substituted here. So qx minus qx is 0. So we have to cancel this. This is cancelled out. Okay, so what will be left here? So what will be left here is this. The sign will be negative. Negative partial derivative of qx with respect to x dx minus partial derivative of qy with respect to y dy minus partial derivative of qz with respect to z dz. So these are what was left on the equations plus yung ating energy generated and energy stored. Okay? So that will be our equation 2.17. Okay, can you still catch up? Do you have any question? Okay, so going back, so already applied the Taylor Swift, Taylor series, sorry, Taylor series expansion. Okay, I'll just delete this first. I should have deleted it first. Okay. So this is our equation 2.17. So the conduction heat rates in an isotropic material can be evaluated from Fourier's law. So if we have here equations 2.17, as you can see, there is a Qx, Qy, and Qz here. So, but we can determine the formula of Qx or Q sub x, Q sub y, and Q sub z by using Fourier's law. Okay, so for Q sub x, our Fourier's law is negative k dy over dz, partial derivative of temperature with respect to x. Okay, so as you can see, we are still using the partial derivative because we are dealing with more than one variable. So if it's only x, so we will consider only derivative of dt over dx only, no? So but now we are using xyz, so we have to consider partial derivative. So this symbol is a partial derivative symbol. So how did we get this equation? Hmm, Aramay Lianto, are you here? Aramay Lianto. Wala si Aramay. Aramay absent. Sean Michael Montañez, are you here?
Hello po, sir.
Hello. So how did we get this QX equation? This QX equation, how did we get?
Sir, no idea po.
Okay, so as I have said, the conduction heat rates in an isotropic material may be evaluated from Fourier's law. So this is from the Fourier's law, this equation. Yung negative k dy dx multiplied by partial derivative of t with respect to x. So it came from a Fourier's law equation. However, this time since we are dealing with more than one variable, not only x but also y and z, we are using the partial derivative. So what about dy and dz? Where did it came from? dy dz. Where do you think? I will call on Endrinal Crystalline.
Idea.
Yes po, sir.
Hello Crystalline.
Po.
Where do you think this dy and dz come from? As we have said, this is the Fourier's law. So what does this dy and dz signify?
Yung pong, di ko po sure, sir, kung tama, pero parang
Mhm.
po yung energy in po.
Okay, so this dy and dz is actually the area. So do you remember the formula of the Fourier's law? So we have negative ka. Let's go back to our previous discussion. This one. So can you see my screen? Equation 2.1. Okay, so Qx equals negative Ka dt over dx. So it is the same as this. Negative K dy over dz, partial derivative of t with respect to x. So it means that dy dz is our area. So by looking at this figure, when the heat transfer at the x direction is coming here, what is the area perpendicular to this heat transfer? Qx. We have three sides, dx, dy, and dz. We have three coordinates, dx, dy, and dz. So what area is perpendicular to qx? Let me call on Aliana May Bederico. Are you here?
Yes po.
Okay. So what are the areas? What is the area perpendicular to qx?
Wait po.
By just looking at this figure?
QZQY po.
Uh,
Ayan mo yung QX.
qx is the heat transfer coming into the system. So we
Wait.
have here dy and dz and dx. So this is the qx. So what are the area perpendicular to qx?
DZ and DY po.
Yes, that's correct. So dz and dy. How about qj?
Wait lang po. DX and DY po.
Yes. And how about dy? Where is dy? Qy, sorry. How about qy? What's the...
QY. Ano ba to? DX, DZ po.
Yes, that's correct. So that's why we have here equations like this. So we have qx equals negative k times the area, which is dy dz. Qy is negative k times the area dx dz, and qj is negative k multiplied by the area dx dy. So that's the reason behind this equation 2.18a, b, and c. So now we can substitute this Fourier's law equation into our equation 2.17. So substituting this, we will come up with our heat diffusion equation. Okay, So what do you think will happen if we substitute this qx here? Here, for example, we will change this, we will substitute this qx, qy, and qz in this equation. Okay, so yeah. So this value of qx will be substituted here in this equation. So what do you think will happen? So may I call on Gladys May, Gida. Gida, Gladys May, are you here?
Yes po, hello.
Okay, so can you explain what will happen if we substituted the value of qx, qy, and qz?
Mapapalitan na po yung equation ng QX, QY, QZ ng pong mga ano pang tawag dun sa ano, parang A po.
Parang A yung area. Ito?
Opo.
Okay, so yeah, when we substituted this, alin yung maka-cancel? What part of the equation will be cancelled out when we substituted this equation 2.8 in A, B, and C?
Yung QX, QY, QZ po.
Yes, when we substituted that equation into this equation 2.17, so what do you think will be cancelled out? This 2.8 in A, so we have this equation 2.8 in B and 2.8 in C. So this will be substituted to equation 2.17. So what do you think will be cancelled out when you substituted this equation to 2.17? Okay, so do you want to call a friend?
Yung partial derivative ko po.
No, it's not the partial derivative. So yeah, I think so. Maybe you can work on your seat. So you try to substitute this equation 2.18 here in qx, qy, and in qx, qy, and qz. So we will substitute this 2.18 a, b, and c. Maybe I will call your friend. So your friend is Mark Lewis. So Mark Lewis, can you help Gladys?
Yung mawawala po ba yung negative, sir?
Yeah, it will be positive.
Okay.
It will
Tapos
be
yung
positive.
UIDT po.
So this will be positive now. Since we are substituting it, since the sign here is negative and this is also negative k, so it's will be positive. Okay, so what else? What else?
Yung DX, DYDC po sa 2.17.
Yep. What will happen?
Magka-cancel out po.
Why?
Matitira yung ano, yung partial derivative.
Okay, so yeah, it will be cancelled out since we have dx, dy, dz in both sides of the equation. So let me cancel this out. Yeah, so that's it. So we have canceled dx, dy, and dz. So based on that, so from that, we can determine the equation, or we can derive the equation 2.19. So we have this equation 2.19. So that's it. That's our heat diffusion equation. So we have here the partial derivative with respect to x of k, partial derivative of t with respect to x, plus partial derivative of y multiplied by the quantity k multiplied by partial derivative of t with respect to y, plus partial derivative of z multiplied by the quantity k multiplied by partial derivative of temperature with respect to z, plus q equals rho Cp, partial derivative of temperature with respect to time. So that's our equation 2.19. So which part of the equation are you confused? Is it clear? Okay, how about Eka Kitai? Is it clear?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, this is our equation 2.19. This is our heat diffusion equation. Okay, so I have a question for you. So what do you think will happen if we are only dealing with, by the way, this equation is for three-dimensional heat transfer. So, but currently we are focusing only on one-dimensional heat transfer. So what will happen if we will deal with one-dimensional? What will happen to the equation? Let me call on Yumi. Are you here, Yumi Menes?
Yes po, sir.
Okay. So what do you think will happen if to the equation if we will only deal with one-dimensional heat transfer on x direction?
Mawawala na po yung sa equation po ng dy po and dc po.
Okay, so that's correct. So we will cancel this. Ay, sorry. Okay, so another question. What do you think will happen if we are only uh, we are only considering a steady state conduction? Let me call on Jeremy John Jeremy Batas.
Ah, yes po. Bale,
Mhm.
ano po, yung heat flux po is magiging constant na lang po.
So the heat flux will be constant. So what will happen to equation 2.19 if we are considering a steady state? What will happen to energy storage?
Sa energy, sa energy
Kasi,
storage po,
mhm, yes.
wala pong magiging change po ng amount.
And then for energy generated,
Ano lang po, equal lang po ata sa thermal energy stored po.
okay, so thank you for sharing your ideas. So actually, if we are dealing with energy storage, with steady state, sorry, if we are dealing with a steady state conduction, so we do not have a energy storage because the heat transfer coming in is equivalent to heat transfer coming out. So we will have this as zero. This will be zero. Energy storage will be zero. And energy generated will also be zero since we are dealing with steady state. So there's no energy generation when the system is in a steady state. conduction. So what will remain on the equation is that this one, partial derivative of x with multiplied by the quantity k, partial derivative of t with respect to x is equivalent to 0. And this equation is equivalent to the Fourier's law equation because, yeah, this is the Fourier's law equation. So since we are only one direction, we will not use the partial derivative. So instead of this partial derivative, we are using this ordinary differential equation. So it will be equivalent to this equation. So let's find it. This one, equation 2.1. Okay, so that's the origin. Uh, that's the origin of this equation. So yeah, do you have any question? So did you understand this equation 2.19? Can you derive it on your own? Okay, so going back to equation 2.19, we can still simplify it. For example, if the thermal conductivity is constant, the thermal conductivity K is constant. So we can factor out K here. So we will come up with this equation. Second partial derivative of T with respect over x squared with respect to x squared plus second partial derivative of T with respect to y squared plus second partial derivative of T with respect to z squared plus q over k equals 1 over alpha partial derivative of T with respect to T. So how did we come up with this equation? So we just factored out k. So nilabas natin yung k, we factored out k, and then what happened with q? Since it has no k, so we will have q over k here. And what about this rho Cp? What will happen? So as we can recall, the formula for rho Cp is k over alpha. So extracting k, the 1 over alpha will be left out. I mean, since we factored out k, so it will become 1 over alpha. But originally, the value of rho Cp is k over alpha. So after factoring out, it will only be 1 over alpha. Okay. Okay, let us see if you understand. So, Giancarlo Di Malibot, I want to know if you understand what I said. Giancarlo Di Malibot, are you here?
Yes po, sir.
Okay, so did you understand what I just said about this equation?
Yes po.
Okay, can you explain?
Sir, pwede po pa ulit isa pa. Sorry po.
Okay, so earlier I have said that this equation 2.19 can still be simplified because if we have constant thermal conductivity here. We can cancel out this K. And then what a denominator case. Yeah. This one, it will be same with y and yes. Okay, so we had intermittent connection. So where did we stop? How about now? Is it all clear now?
Clear na po.
Okay. So where did we stop? Yeah. So we factored out k here. We factored out k. So we come up with this equation. Okay, so we are lagging. Okay, so did you get this equation? Do you have any question on this? So if you don't have any questions, so we will proceed with heat diffusion in cylindrical coordinates. So in deriving the equation for the cylindrical coordinates, we will just change the differential control volume. So instead of xyz, the differential control volume would be dr plus rd phi plus dz. I mean dr multiplied by rd phi multiplied by dz, because our cylindrical coordinates are r, p, and z. But we will still apply the same procedure. So changing these coordinates, we can derive this equation, heat diffusion equation for cylindrical. So applying energy balance to the differential control volume in figure, the following general form of the heat equation is obtained. So yeah, that's an energy balance. Okay, so as you can see, we still have the same format of equation. So we still have this internal energy storage. We have energy generated and our heat transfer, conduction heat transfer at R, phi, and z direction. So same format as those in rectangular or rectangular coordinate system. So with regard to spherical, so same case, we just have to change our differential control volume. So we have dr, r sine theta, d phi, r d theta. So this is our differential control volume because our spherical coordinates are r, phi, and theta. Okay, so do you have any question? So this will be our equation for heat diffusion equation. So we still have energy storage and energy generated plus the energy transferred at different directions. So we have energy transfer at r, phi, and theta. So you don't have to, it would be better if you will derive this equation, but it's up to you if you want to derive this equation. So, but I already put here the ways on how it came, on how to derive this. So you'll just start with energy balance, like what we did on the cubical control volume. So you just have to start on the energy balance, and then from that you can determine what are the energies coming in, energy generated, energy coming out, and energy stored. So you just have to change the coordinates. Instead of XYZ, you have to change the coordinates for spherical and cylindrical. Is that clear? Okay. So no more question on derivation of heat diffusion equation. So what's important is that we have this the purpose of this lesson today is for you to know where this heat diffusion equation came from. So how it was derived. So a major objective in this conduction analysis is to determine the temperature field in a medium resulting from conditions imposed on its boundaries. So that is, we wish to know the temperature distribution, which represents how temperature varies with position in the medium. So once this distribution is known, so the conduction heat flux at any point in the medium or on its surface may be computed from the Fourier's law. So we will proceed with example 1. So the temperature distribution across a wall, 1 meter thick and at a certain instant of time is given as T of x equals a plus bx plus cx squared. So where T is in degrees Celsius and x is in meters, while A equals 900 degrees Celsius, B equals negative 300 degrees Celsius per meter, and C equals negative 50 degrees Celsius per square meter. So a uniform heat generation Q naught is equivalent to 1000 watt per cubic meter, so is present in the wall of area 10 square meter having the properties density equals 1600 kilogram per cubic meter, K equals 40 watt per meter Kelvin, and Cp is 4 kilojoules per kilogram Kelvin. So determine the rate of heat transfer entering the wall at x equals 0 and leaving the wall at x equals 1. Determine the rate of change of energy storage in the wall and determine the time rate of temperature change at x equals 0, 0.25, and 0.5. So let us solve this problem. We will apply the methodology that I told you before. So applying that, may we know what is known in this problem? May I call on Gonzalvo Warren? Gonzalvo Warren, are you here?
Yes po.
Okay. So can you state what are known or what is known on the problem?
Babasahin pa po ba yung problem?
No need to read the problem. Just inform us what are known or what is known on the problem.
Yung ano po, temperatures po of 900 degrees Celsius. Then yung thick wall po muna na 1 meter. Then yung (900 degrees Celsius), negative 300 degrees Celsius per meters, and negative 50 degrees Celsius per meter squared, which is sa ano po ata yun, sa instant of time na t as a function of x is equals to a plus bx plus cx squared. Then uniform heat generation po na 1000 watts per meter cubic meter. Then yung area po ng wall, which is 10 meters squared. Yung density po na 1,600 kilograms per cubic meters. Yung specific heat na 400 watts per meter Kelvin, and yung ano po, yung Cp na 4 kilojoules per kilogram Kelvin.
Okay, thank you. So what are we looking for in this problem? So what is find?
Yung heat of transfer po entering the wall at x is equals to 0 and and leaving the wall at x is equals to 1 meters. The rate of change of energy and the time rate of temperature change at x is equals to 0.25, and 0.5 meters.
Okay, thank you, Warren. So yeah, and our this is our goal is to determine the rate of heat transfer entering the wall, the rate of change of energy storage in the wall, and the time rate of temperature change. So we are given this equation that this is the temperature distribution. As I have said earlier, this is the important equations in heat transfer. So by using this equation, we can determine the changes in heat transfer across the wall or across any system. So this is our known, the temperature distribution Tx at instant of time t in one-dimensional wall with uniform heat generation. So assumptions, this is, we'll go, let's check first the schematic. So this is our schematic diagram wherein we have A equals 10 square meter, T of X equals, this is our heat diffusion equation or heat distribution equation, or what we call this temperature distribution rather, temperature distribution equation. So as you can see, so temperatures are distributed using this equation. Okay, we will just substitute the value of x here. So we have heat transfer in and heat transfer out. You also have this energy generated, K, rho, and Cp values. So we are having this energy generated and energy storage. And then the length is 1 meter. So you just have to show this on your schematic. So assumptions, this is a one-dimensional conduction in the x direction, isotropic medium with constant properties, uniform internal heat generation. When we say isotropic, so it has constant properties across the wall. So meaning the thermal conductivity is constant. Okay, so recall that once temperature distribution is known for a medium, so it is simple matter to determine the conduction heat transfer rate at any point in the medium or at its surfaces by using the Fourier's law. So hence, the desired heat rates may be determined by using the prescribed temperature distribution accordingly. Okay, so let us first uh, use the rate of heat transfer. I mean the Fourier's law here. The formula is Q of x equals negative Ka partial derivative of t with respect to x. Okay? So now this value, partial derivative of t with respect to x, we will use this equation t of x equals a plus bx plus cx squared. So substituting to this partial derivative of t with respect to x, we will gain this equation negative Ka multiplied by b plus 2cx at x equals 0. So how did we come up with this equation? Negative Ka b plus 2cx. Claudine Barreto Alvarez. Are you here, Claudine?
Yes po, sir.
So how did we came up with this equation? Negative Ka multiplied by b plus 2cx.
Fourier's po, sir.
Hello, yes? What was that?
Fourier po.
Yes, it's the Fourier's law, but how did we arrive? Yeah. Negative Ka dt over dx is the Fourier's law. So in here, partial derivative of t with respect to x is based on this equation. T of x equals a plus bx plus cx squared. So how did we came up with b plus 2cx?
Ano po, differentiation po.
Differentiation. So there is another term. So maybe we can call your friend. And your friend is, I'm deciding who will be your friend. So Mariel is your friend. So can you help Claudine? Mariel, are you here? Mariel Pantoja. So Mariel Pantoja is not here, so she is absent. So let's go to Trisha Ann Manalo. Are you here? Trisha Ann Manalo.
Hello po.
Yes, Trisha. So yeah,
Derivative po.
yes, it's the derivative of a plus bx plus cx squared. So the derivative of a plus bx plus cx squared is equivalent to b plus 2cx. Now substituting at the value x equals 0. So we have negative b, which is 300, negative 300 actually. So negative multiplied by negative is positive. Multiplied by 40, which is our k, it's what per meter Kelvin multiplied by the area. So we will come up with 120 kilowatt. So can you double check if it's correct? So that is an energy, that's energy out. What about at x equals 0? What about energy? I mean, sorry, it's energy in at x equals 0. So what about energy out at x equals 1? So you just have to substitute 1 meter. Instead of 0, it will be 1 meter. So same formula. Negative KAB plus 2CX. But X will be 1. So we have negative B plus 2C times 1 multiplied by KA. So we have negative of negative 300 plus 2 multiplied by C. C is given, negative 50, multiplied by the length of 1 meter, multiplied by 40. 40 is the value of K, and multiplied by 10 square meters. So the answer is 160 kilowatt. So this is the heat transfer going out of the system. Okay, so next. So next is the rate of change of energy storage in the wall. So using the energy balance, we can compute for the energy storage. We have energy in, which is 120 kilowatt. This is what we have just derived earlier. And then we have energy out of 160 kilowatt. So we'll subtract it from energy in plus energy generated. So energy generated, so we have here given of 1000 watt per cubic meter. We just have to multiply it by the volume. And the volume is area times length. So where EG is UAL, it follows that we have 1000 watt per cubic meter multiplied by area of 10 and length of 1 meter. So the answer is negative 30 kilowatt. So that is our energy storage. Do you agree with that? Okay, so that's it. So we still have 7 minutes left. We only have 7 minutes left. Okay, so next is the time rate of change. So the time rate of change of the temperature at any point in the medium may be determined from the heat equation. So yeah, this equation, partial derivative of t with respect to time, is equivalent to k over rho Cp partial derivatives partial squared t over partial x squared plus q over rho Cp. Okay, so this one is from this equation. Okay. So this one is what we are looking for, this value. So you have to multiply this one with alpha. Alpha equals rho Cp. So that's why we have here, by the way, this will be cancelled out since we do not have x and y coordinates. Okay, so yeah, going back, this equation can be rewritten as this one. So we have to calculate for the value of partial derivative of t with respect to x. Okay. So from the prescribed temperature distribution, it follows that partial squared t over partial x squared equals partial derivative of x multiplied by the quantity partial derivative of t with respect to x. So here we have to determine the second order derivative. Okay, so we have here, we will substitute this temperature distribution equation to partial derivative of t with respect to x. So we have here b plus 2cx is the first derivative, and then we have to get the derivative of b plus 2cx. We have 2c. So substituting the value, we have 2 times negative 50 degrees Celsius per square meter, so equals negative 100 degrees Celsius per square meter. Okay? So we already have the value of this. Did you get it? Did you get this? So this one, you just have to simplify this equation. Second order partial derivative. Yeah, this one. Okay, so we have that already. So what we need next is the value of q over rho Cp plus k over rho Cp. So we actually have that. So the value of this equation is negative 100. So next, substituting to this formula. So we have k, which is 40. So this one, still the same formula. Okay, so k is 40 over rho Cp. Rho is 1/6. Cp is 4 multiplied by this value. Second partial derivative of t with respect to x squared is negative 100. plus Q is 1,000 given. Rho Cp is also given. So partial derivative of temperature with respect to time is negative 6.25 times 10 to the negative 4 degrees Celsius per second plus 1.56 times 10 to the negative 4 degrees Celsius per second. So a total of negative 4.69 times 10 to the negative 4 degrees Celsius per second. So that's our uh, value for the time rate of change, time rate temperature of temperature change. So that we are looking in the problem. That we are looking for in the problem. So from this result, it is evident that the temperature at every point within the wall is decreasing with time. Since the value is negative, so the temperature distribution is decreasing over time. So Fourier's law can always be used to compute for the conduction heat rate from knowledge of the temperature distribution even for unsteady state conditions with internal heat generation. Okay, so do you have any question? Did you understand what we have just discussed? Okay, so if you don't have any question, see you on next week. So I will just upload this lecture on our Google Classroom. So yeah, and the hard copy that you have requested will be sent, will be given to you on our next face-to-face class. Okay, I'll just put message on our Google Classroom. Thank you. See you again next week. Yes.
Thank you po.